Hey guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man Jay Will. So in this video right here, let's talk about what your expectations are for purchasing a smartphone, how much you think a reasonable price is for what your expectations are, and how long a smartphone should actually last or get support. So there are a lot of smartphones out there. And by the way, this is the front camera of the Essential phone. The Essential phone's software has gotten updated and it has just been a fantastic run with this phone. So I decided to go ahead and do a front-facing video with the Essential phone. No microphones, nothing, just plug it up and put it on the stand and let's go. So let's start there. Phones get released and they get released at ridiculous prices sometimes. Let's be honest. But there are phones out there that actually get released at a not so great price, but not too bad of a price, but they're unknown. I think that was a good example of the Essential phone and several other phones. And here, let me explain. The Essential phone originally released at $700, and this is pretty much a new company. Now, most people are afraid to support a new company with a $700 purchase if they just have no knowledge of the device or the company. Well, I just have this phone in my hand. This iPhone 10 right here is $1,000 or $1,150 before taxes. But Apple has such a good brand and they're well known by people, so people trust them, they buy their products, and that's just how that goes. But a company like Essential had to, in so many words, essentially prove themselves worthy that their phone is actually worth what they're asking. Now let's back up here. I initially said that this phone is definitely not worth $700, but that was because I didn't know the phone. You know, I didn't have any hands-on. I didn't know anything about the phone, no usage. But a lot of people stated their opinions on this device solely because of the price, and that was with no hands-on, or they watched YouTube videos of other people saying that the phone was bad. When in fact, the Essential phone is very good. Now, whether it's worth $700, you can be the judge of that. The hardware alone, though, I will tell you, there's no phone to me at this point in the game whose hardware can match the Essential phone's hardware. Feel in hand, materials, all of that. So that's just my opinion. Now, I've also gone on record and said, you know, my expectations of a phone are not so much warranted just on price. It's about the support for the device, the quality of the materials, the quality of the company. There's a lot that goes into an expectation for a device when you purchase it. So I think that's how you should shop. So my expectations for a phone like the iPhone, I already know this phone is not worth $1,000. It doesn't matter what Apple's charging. It doesn't matter who the maker of it is. All of that does not matter. The reality is I don't feel this phone is worth $1,000, maybe 600 tops, because the hype behind this phone is pretty much just hype. It's just another iPhone in a different shell with a few more added features, and that's really what it is. Is it a bad phone? Of course not. This is my daily driver, well, one of them, and I'm loving every minute of it. Cameras are superb. There's a ton of things about this phone that I actually like. Now, getting back to the Essential phone, I think the Essential phone is probably the smarter purchase before this phone, and I've said that in video before as I compare these two, and also a better purchase and a smarter choice than the Galaxy Note, the S8, based on the current price. Now, if you can get deals on phones, on those other phones like the Note 8, the S8, and all these other phones with the LGs, does that make them the better purchase? Not necessarily. In another video, I said that if this phone was $499 and the Essential phone was $499, I'd take this phone, and I stand firm on that. Even though the Essential phone is a smart choice, it's a smart choice right now because it has the better build quality. You know, the screen I think is fantastic. It's actually Quad HD. It's well, not exactly. It's right under there, but it's a complete package pretty much as far as price and what it's offering. When this phone is not, but if they were the same price and everything stayed the same, I would go with this phone right here because I don't know the Essential company yet. I haven't had to deal with them for support. I haven't had issues. Just a bunch of things go into that. So essentially, Essential, the company, is proving themselves by pushing out tons of updates. I mean, tons of updates. I mean, if you have the Essential phone, you've gotten at least 4. I think I've gotten 5. I'm not sure. But there are a ton of updates, and Essential has lowered the price. They're proving to themselves. So they're going to say, next time, don't doubt us. Now, there's a bunch of things out there that said the Essential phone sold 5,000 units. Not anymore. The Essential phone is selling like hotcakes because of the price and the software updates. People are starting to see the potential. There are a boatload of videos out there now saying how great the Essential phone is, mine included. There are a ton of videos out there where people are pretty much just saying the Essential phone is fantastic. You know, now that they dropped the price and they started giving software updates, but what if they would not have dropped the price? Would it still be a sensational device? I think I probably would have picked it up. If the price would have stayed at $699, I actually bought it at $650 at one point. And then they dropped the price on me, and then I got another one. But nonetheless, expectations for a device, are you basing that solely on price? Are you basing that on your experience with a company like Samsung or Apple or LG or HTC? Are you basing your expectations on that? And I can tell you a lot of people have high expectations for this phone right here because it's an iPhone. And so iPhone users are probably pretty much basing their decisions, or some people are basing their decisions solely on the cost, because this is $1,000 phone. Let's be honest here. No phone should cost $1,000. There's nothing magical about it to make it cost $1,000, and that's not just for Apple. The Galaxy Note is $950. It's not that magical for $950. Let's be honest. So when you have phones like the Moto G5S Plus, the Moto G5 Plus, the whole entire Moto line, the Z line from ZTE, the Blade line from ZTE, HTC's products, the U11, the U11 Lite, the U11 Plus. There are tons of companies out there that are releasing, even LG. They're releasing phones out there that are in a certain price bracket. You got the K20, you've got the Stylo 3 Plus, the Stylo 2, you just got a bunch. You got the G6, which is very affordable now. You've got the Q6. They're just, companies now are leveling the playing field when it comes to what I'm going to offer in a certain price range. And it's getting harder to choose. And so your expectations for a device are gonna show when it comes to how you're picking your device. I think for a lot of people, and I mean a large majority of people, it's going to come down to how much the phone costs. Some people are going to say, I don't care what that thing costs or what it has to offer. I'm not paying $750 for this. And that is the majority of the world probably. At least they don't want to play it up front, because you do have the option to finance now. But with that being said, wow, my expectations for devices, I review phones, so I can take a phone like the Xiaomi Mi A1 and call it a fantastic device, because it is. But it only costs $200. That is an even smarter purchase than the Essential phone. Here's why. You've got a metal build, you've got a different size, you got a bigger body, which some people are now starting to like that. They don't like these small form factors with big screens. Some people have voiced that openly now. So you've got stock Android, and it's an Android One device. Speaking of the Xiaomi Mi A1, that's an Android One device. So you know that you're going to get updates directly from Google. You don't have to worry about going through Essential with their updates. And I'm not saying it's a good or a bad thing. I'm just telling you why the Xiaomi Mi A1 is probably a better choice or purchase even than the Essential phone. It's half the cost, and the Essential phone is already cut $250 off in a lot of places. So it's half the cost to begin with. So you can look for that phone on a discount later on down the line. But that's an Android One device. It's got 64 gigs onboard storage, SD card, 4 gigs of RAM. You know, it's got a really solid and tried and true processor in it, the 625. It's a good choice. And I would recommend that phone probably faster than I would tell a person to go out. Because in the end, I review all these phones and I purchase the phones. But at the same time, I still want a person to get an affordable package. I want you to get something that's not going to hurt your pocket. If you don't have to finance a phone, you shouldn't want to. You don't want to create debt for yourself. So your expectations for a phone is what? It has to have a good camera. For me, to me, an expectation. Now I'll check off a few boxes here before I go on too long. One expectation that a phone has to have, it has to have, and again, I don't take selfies, but I run my channel with my devices. And the top front camera that I've noticed is the U11. And I'm actually going to do a revisited video with the U11 and this camera now from the Essential phone, because the Essential phone can shoot in 4K on the front camera. It's the same as the rear. And, you know, the rear camera is greatly improved. So we'll see how that comes about. But there are some key things that I need in a phone, and a front camera is one of them. It has to have a really solid front camera, because when I'm doing a vlog or a video like this, I want to be able to just peek over at the viewfinder and see that the footage looks great and go back to what I'm talking about. It has to be good. If I didn't have an external microphone, which I'm not using an external microphone right now, it has to have good audio like the Galaxy Note 8. The Galaxy Note 8 has fantastic audio. Fun fact, I've been actually using the Galaxy Note 8 to record a lot of the videos in the iPhone 10. And I'm giving my U11 a rest. So a lot of you guys were saying, this is fantastic footage. The Galaxy Note 8 failed in one video, and it was just a matter for me of adjusting the lighting, if I needed to. But the audio quality on the Galaxy Note 8 is fantastic. I don't need to adjust the gains, nothing. But it doesn't beat LG devices when it comes to audio, because hi-fi audio on the LG devices, like the higher end ones, it could be adjusted. So Samsung can't really compete with that. You've got the mic gain, and you can't really compete with that. But nonetheless, front-facing camera has to be checked off first, because I'm going to do a lot of vlogs. Rear cameras have to be able to perform in certain lightings, or they just have to be crystal clear. And the audio for recording has to be really, really good. No phone can check all of those boxes. Even some videos I've done with the U11, some people said, man, that microphone sounds horrible. Well, the U11's 3D recording is for the rear. You can zoom in on audio and pick up stuff, but the front, the audio is a little on the weaker side. And so a lot of times I might use an external mic with the U11 or the U11 Life. So I could use an external microphone with probably any of the devices that I have. And I have done that before, the iPad or whatever I'm trying to record with. An external mic is always a plus. But if you have a device that can actually record like this without an external microphone and shoot 4K on the front, you've got a winner on your hands. So I only check a few boxes when it comes to expectations for a device. Now, price for me a lot of times doesn't really bother me too much. I'll complain about it, but eventually I'll find a way to get it, whatever the device is, at a much lower cost. I'm either really patient, or I find a deal, something, and when I really want something. And if not, you just got to buy it at the full cost. And that's just how it goes. But my expectations don't surround myself around so much as far as money goes, because I know that a lot of the quote-unquote flagships are going to cost more than $500. And it's hard to justify spending over $300 or $350 for a phone nowadays when you've got so many phones out there that actually can do just as good as the quote-unquote flagships. Now, right, some of them don't have all these fancy features, but they can all pretty much do the exact same thing. And the real question boils down to, are those extra features worth that $500 that you're going to pay extra? $350 extra, anything, whatever you name the price to be. So I just wanted to touch bases quickly, and he probably say, Jay, quickly, this is like a 12-minute video, just 13 minutes. Well, just stay focused. Anyway, so I wanted to touch bases with you guys because I want to know, what are your expectations when you get a device? What are you expecting when you spend $350? Because now you can't really say it costs $350 and it's trash, because there are a ton of phones out there that cost $100 from where I sit that are actually really good, and there's nothing you can do about it. So $50 for that, man. I mean, look at the Moto. I don't have to get into it. There are a ton of phones out there that are lower than $100 that perform just as well as my phones that cost $1,000 and probably have better battery life. So, it's your man Jay Will. What are your expectations? Just list them down below. List them in order if you don't mind. The first thing on your list is this. The first thing on my list is the front camera. And that's top notch. It has to be really, really good. That's something that I have. But I won't go down my entire list because it's a big list. What's your list? What are your expectations when you decide to walk into a store and purchase a product, a device, a Samsung, an Apple, a LG, HTC, whatever it is? If it's a smartphone, what are your expectations for smartphones in the current state of buying a smartphone? I would think it's going to be very difficult. So I know money and price is going to be way at the top of the list for a lot of people. But what are your expectations when you spend $1,000 on the phone? And be realistic. Don't say, oh, it better do this and all this nonsense. I'm just going to delete those silly comments. Add value to your comment and represent yourself well. So expectations on a smartphone in 2017, heading into 2018, what are you looking for when you spend your hard-earned money on a smartphone that's very expensive, or it only costs $50. It's your man Jay Will. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.